Hey everyone. This one is an awkward schedule for me, so I'm doing a review now, and I do a review on Sunday for a new movie coming out. But today we're going to talk about Star Wars Maul, the Dark Lord. Yes, that is a mouthful, but you could just call it Maul, the Dark Lord. This show came out this year. Started on April 6th. It dropped two episodes each week. It dropped two new episodes. So April 6th was the first two. April 13th was 3 and 4. April 20th, 5 and 6. April 27th, 7 and 8. And then May 4th, the greatest day of all time. May the 4th be with you. The last two episodes, which, in my opinion, were the greatest two episodes I ever had to experience in my life. This show was very under the radar for me because I was like, okay, most of the Star Wars shows haven't been very good in a sense. So, like, it was very awkward for me to, like, be excited for it 'cause the way they kind of approached it was like they're introducing another character, you know, another youngling that survived Order 66, Devin. Interesting name for a character. I actually loved her name. Um, I was scared for the first couple of episodes because it did build up her character and it did say different things about it, and you know it wasn't her being girl bossy. They kind of set her up for perfection, and a lot of people are kind of speculating that she might be something else that we've seen before in the Star Wars like novels and stuff. And again, I will say this permanently for all Star Wars fans. I understand where most Star Wars fans are saying that like a lot of the media isn't like the best for it. Like movies and the TV shows aren't the best for Star Wars. I have to agree because a lot of the live action TV shows aren't the best. The Mandalorian started off pretty good, and again, it was good from season 1 to season 2. Season 3 kind of dropped off. It kind of and then the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is coming out, which everyone either wanted a new season or they just wanted to just do its own thing. A movie I'm still hesitant on, but I'm going to go see it next week or the week after. So either way, I will be seeing that and give my full sauce review on that one. But for a lot of the lore and like if you want to learn about other characters outside of like certain stuff, the books and the comic books are like the best attributes for this. And it's kind of sad because like we don't get to see a lot of stuff in like the TV shows, but that's where most of the animated TV shows come in, like Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. I think there was like one called Visions, which I still wanted to watch because it looked damn near beautiful, and I like the comic book art style they pick. And then you got Star Wars Maul, and I was kind of hesitant because I was like, nothing compared to the Clone Wars at all. Like, nothing compares to the Clone Wars, Rebels, the Bad Batch. And it's just like, what are they going to do with Maul after Clone Wars? There's a whole big thing that, when he was brought back, when he was, revived after certain stuff happened with his brother. You guys can watch other like lore videos for that. I'm not too big into that stuff because I can't really concentrate on so much lore for Star Wars because man, I can follow a clone trooper for dear life and be like, I like this guy, but I don't know a damn thing about him. But the main ones like Maul, Darth Sidious, Plagueis, you know Darth Vader. There's a whole comic book run on him. There's just so much media that attends to this franchise that just gives it a whole lot of life, and I love it. I've recently got into some of the books. I want to get more of the comic books and stuff, and just have that extra piece of lore for me, and kind of just visualize it myself. And then, of course, I'm playing the games, which if you guys have played the Star Wars Battlefront games, they might have been hit or miss with certain stuff. But for a 10-year-old game, like this game right here is like, you know, I think it came out in like 2018. It still holds up and looks beautiful. Like if EA and Dice ever got their stuff together, they would make a Star Wars Battlefront 3, give us everything, and just let us go have fun with it. Put the Mandalorians in there, put some of the Rebel stuff in there, the Bad Batch stuff. There's just so much they could still do. But anyways, sidetrack. Maul started off really good. It was explaining where Devin and her apprentice or her master were and why they were there on that planet. Same with Maul and the police officer that was looking for what's going on with all the like illegal activity going on in the planet. And the story builds up pretty well to set up Maul to want this Devin as an apprentice. He knows she's strong with the Force, in the good way, because her master is literally keeping her on her, good side. There's some hints of evil, but it leaks into like what's building for Devin and Maul together, to build up that master and Padawan legacy thing that they're going to do. And I appreciated it because it wasn't forcing it on us. It was more or less like, okay, Maul feels this presence of somebody's here that he could make into his apprentice. Because again, not all of the Siths and masters of the Force live that long, I mean, heck, we already got Luke Skywalker's already gone. But that is a rumor I will say for the end of the video that I heard about. But anyways, all the episodes pretty much progressive. The cops are right on Maul, but it's all part of Maul's plan. He wants them to figure out where he's at, and then Maul's trying to convert Devin into becoming his apprentice, going to the dark side, And again, I will say this for animation. They nail the choreography of lightsaber battles. It makes it so much like the aura you feel of it. Like how you're watching like I'm pretty sure that's Luke in the background ready to mess my stuff up. You see the movements of that in the anime TV shows. And it's like, wow. I will say this, animation does lightsaber battles better. I will always say that to the day I die. I love them in live action. They look beautiful. They look good. It's just animation captures the style of what Hayden and I think his name was Ray, or the guy that actually voices Darth Maul in the anime TV show and in the movies, and Aaron McGregor. I think I just named the boxer, not. Anyways, the guy that plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. Those three were the pinnacle of fast moving lightsaber battles, and it made it so much better. Like the CGI at the time was trying to animate Yoda to do it, and Yoda could, and I still wish we got like a previous like how Yoda became a master and made perfectly. But again, I'm gonna save a lot of my criticisms for what I want from Star Wars at the end of the video. But overall, animation captures this stuff very well. The fights between Devin and Maul, when the Inquisitors start coming in, Merrick and his other brother, they were literally on Maul's neck, like ready to just end him because again, the Emperor now, because it literally takes place right after the Clone Wars and literally after Order 66, is literally, I want to say like a few months. Like this is young Anakin as Darth Vader, and this is the Empire before they converted to the TIE fighters and the ATTs and the ATSTs. This is where they were starting to do the building grounds. Like they actually had the original ships that the clones used in the Clone Wars and in the original or in the prequels. So it was literally pre-Empire before they destroyed everything. And it was good to see that because I actually do like seeing how the Empire grew into this force of nature that took over planets, destroyed planets. And, the rebels were literally on their heels. And it shows in this show that the Jedi were literally not ready for what Anakin was bringing to the table as a threat, as Darth Vader. And I want more of this in a sense. But Maul is literally just like a crime lord, man. He's doing his best to fucking make people into his order. Like he's pretty much doing everything he needed to underground, and it showed. And it's cool to show that the canon of the Star Wars lore is that they still show that Maul took over Mandalore for that little bit of time before he got defeated, and showing that a few of his followers did follow him. I think he's still the leader of Mandalore. I don't fully know that whole backstory still, but it was still interesting to know that there was a Mandalorian following him along with a couple others, and a couple of his other brothers that he had. And I'm not going to spoil the show. I want you guys to go check it out for yourself. I can't give it more than justice for itself for what it did. And I will say the last two episodes are my favorite because what they bring to the table is a perfect setup for either another season or for them to build up off of that and keep going, because the animation is beautiful, the soundtrack is amazing. I don't know who's cooking there for, the animators, because again, I've said this for a lot of stuff, like animated movies and TV shows are like the goats of making side characters or making the best out of characters. Like if everyone takes a look at Spider-Man and Into the Spider-Verse, the first one that came out in 2018, we were shocked that, it did a very interesting comic book style art, the movements of everything. And then, when they implemented the suit into the Spider-Man games, it was like, dang, this art style is really a well like animated thing. And then the second movie took it to a higher level because they were implementing that, Hobie, aka Spider Punk, he was animated very, very differently from the black and white to his color to his way his movements was. They said that took them up to 2 years just to do by themselves, and it shows because they're putting a lot of effort into his movements, his colorization, his talk, the way he moves, the way he just, even his little punk style like he has. So again, animation does a very, very good job. And story wise, Maul is still good. The way Devin is portrayed, she's again not a girl boss of like, oh, I'm better than Maul or all, I'm better than all the Sith or the Jedi. She was not like this. She is strong, yes, but that's kind of like how Ahsoka was. Ahsoka was powerful, and then when she got her, training from Anakin, she damn near was second to him, and it showed. Kenobi could keep up with her, and I mean, she kept up with Kenobi. I mean, she still kept up with some of the Inquisitors, and those are the toughest enemies and scariest people to fight in the Star Wars universe because of the way they move. They're kind of like Maul, but their dual blades are literally more movement based than how Maul did. But the way Maul handled an Inquisitor, I was like, I don't even know, man. Maul is still the GOAT. Even when, like, because he has robot legs, when they knock him down and, kind of bring him down, he's still moving at a good freaking pace to keep up with an Inquisitor. That is shocking, even for me. So, this show was I'm going to say a 10 out of 10. From the story to the way it kept me entertained, to, the lore side of everything, to what they brought to the table with all the ending episodes. The acting is great. I love the voice actor from Maul, Devin, her master, the police officer. He is actually a great voice actor. Actually, he voiced what's his name, the wolf in Puss in Boots, and you hear it, and it's like that raspy voice that he has. It's just so unique, and then it's just so good to see animation doing very well with that. So overall, if you guys want to go check out Maul, I would. It's on Disney Plus. This is like one of the recommended shows that I would recommend because it's just so dang good from start to finish, and all the episodes are great. And then waiting for him is like the anticipation of like, dang, what's Maul gonna do? What's gonna happen? Like, what's this crime lord gonna do to Maul to screw him over? All this other stuff, and then the endings. I wish I could spoil. I know it's been out for a couple days, and I don't want to spoil it because you guys need to go see it for yourself and understand the lore and understand like what us Star Wars fans have been waiting for. But again, 10 out of 10. The show is amazing. Overall, if I want more stuff from Star Wars, I wish Disney didn't have a control of it because, Rogue One, Maul, Andor, a couple other projects, Mandalorian before season 3. A lot of these shows have a greediness to them that we all like. And Lucasfilm understood that because the prequels were pretty gritty. Even the older movies that our parents grew up with that showed us, that made us love Star Wars, the greediness and the like tone of it, it's not meant to be jolly. It's not meant to be happy. We're not meant to, be excited for the next big thing that's going to make us happy because literally two movies, or literally all three of the movies of the older ones, were literally just torment for the poor people. The resistance was falling. The rebels weren't doing very well. They were getting their asses handed to them on every planet, and it showed the Empire's strength. And that's what made us fear Darth Vader. Like nowadays, yes, we got to see how, the Emperor became powerful and turned Anakin into into Darth Vader. And Anakin being corrupted was so easy, but again, you have to watch Clone Wars to see that there was a lot more story to tell for Anakin than just, oh well, you're turning bad and that's only we can tell in 3 movies. That's not what they were implementing at all. They were pretty much saying, hey, go watch the TV show. And a lot of older Star Wars fans didn't do that. Like my dad didn't do it, but he still understood what Anakin was going through. And I told him like some of the stuff from the TV shows and from the cartoons and stuff, and he was like, "It's interesting." And then I told him about Ahsoka, and he's like, "Oh, that's where she came in." Most of them like it because of what they brought to the table. Them building up characters, not how the movies are doing now. And that's where I'm going to get to my point of I heard a rumor that there's a big chance that the 3 of Rey movies, her movies, the 3, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, they're trying to make those non-canon. And a lot of us Star Wars fans are on the fence about that. I am on the fence about that, but it's only because I think I'm visually attained by it. But in story-wise, I kind of see why. Because all they did was kind of, dumb down some characters from, like, the past films. And then they pretty much are making one character a little bit too OP for some reason. And then, the way Han Solo was killed off. And then, Leia, her death was a little bit, more bound because of what happened to Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. So they kind of want to make amends for what they did. I hope that they do it in the right way and say, this is whatever. You can love it, you can hate it. I hope it's not for the wrong reasons of like because of certain characters. Like I'm going to say this because this is a topic in the Star Wars community of what happened to what's his name, Finn, and the other girl from the second movie, to where it was just because of the hate that those characters were getting, they wanted to just get them out of there. I hope not, because those characters are characters of Star Wars, which I still respect, and they're part of the Star Wars lore in a sense. So I really hope it's not because of that. I hope it's because they don't like the way they told the stories, and it's more or less not because of just one character. And if it's because of Rey, there's reasons everyone else has because of, she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, and all this other stuff that didn't make sense at the time. But it's a rumor. I don't know if it's true or if it's actually facts. I'm just gonna hold out my hope that something good comes out of it, not hatred or anything. So don't think that I want the sequels to be annihilated. I want the best for the sequels and more stuff coming from Star Wars. But in that case, I want Disney to really take a look at what they're doing with Star Wars and really take a deep dive into what we want from Star Wars. Like for me, I just want these, things that they put in the books explained and thrown into animation or live action done right. There's a lot of stuff in the books that, we would love to see out loud. Visions was a great part of that because they showed, like, I think they literally showed a Jedi or a Sith samurai. It's like, that's pretty sick. Give us unique designs for characters that are, something we never see. Give Maul a bigger show out and, show his apprentice becoming more and more darker and making her more evil, and reason for that. And I guess since Darth Vader was actually defeated by Luke Skywalker, you can't really show that Devin has that revenge or, for whatever reason she's going after the Empire or whatever. So in that sense, I really hope the best for Star Wars, and I want nothing but goodness, and pretty much anything coming out of it, especially for the Mandalorian Grogu, it's not looking too hot for it, like box office wise. Story wise, I don't know what they're gonna pull. It looks like somebody might have seen the Mandalorian's face and now he has to go end their existence. That's the whole story it looks like, but I have my criticisms on that, which I'll explain in that video. But overall, I hope the best for Star Wars coming forward. I want a Star Wars Battlefront 3. I want, Maul to have a successful like franchise after this. Give us a couple seasons of this and show what happened during the rise of the Empire. Again, there's a lot of story to be told between the prequels and the sequels, and there's a whole lot. And I wish nothing but the best for Star Wars from here on out, because it's been a downslope since for a hot minute, and I want the best for Star Wars. I love this franchise to death. I love the blasters. I love the lightsabers. I still want to go to Disney World and go make my own lightsaber so I can have it, because as a kid growing up, we all loved Star Wars. Seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan fight together before they turned on each other, and seeing and hearing the blasters of the ATs and the starfighters and all that. This franchise holds a big, big place in my heart. Second to Marvel, second to, a lot of stuff. But, this franchise is seeing a downhill slope for a hot minute, and I think it's time for a revamp of a lot of stuff. But if you guys are fans of Star Wars, let me know down in the comments your favorite Star Wars, type of media, what you like about Star Wars, what brought you to Star Wars. Let's start conversations in the comments. Like the video. I hope you guys like the mediocre gameplay of this. I haven't played Star Wars Battlefront in a minute, and golly, people are demons in this game. But this week's next review will be Mortal Kombat 2, which comes out pretty much today. As this video goes up, I will see it tomorrow and Saturday, so I will have a great justification. And yeah, it took me a minute with this review because I want to get my full thoughts and theories about what's to come of Star Wars, and then hearing the news of what could happen in Star Wars is what I hope for in the future of Star Wars. But again, Maul, Season 1, great show. Go check it out on Disney+. You guys are the best, and I'll catch you guys on my next one. Peace.